Hello viewers and welcome to my new video. Today's video is going to be about a new offer that I'm going to bring to you. So just hear me out on this and see if you might be interested. One of my most popular videos here on my channel are the ones where I provide advice and guidance on things like music royalties, registration with performance right organizations, like a general artist and band advice. I have actually been approached by songwriters, musicians, session musicians, artists, basically asking me a lot of questions in the background about certain aspects and topics that I have been talking about here on my channel. I agreed to actually support them directly and agreed to jump on a Zoom call with them, for example, and then provide that advice and guidance on questions that they had that, maybe I didn't fully explore, or there were some extra questions and they were going through something and needed that extra support, and I've actually offered that, and this has been successful and has supported them successfully with those endeavors and those queries that they have had. So this led me to recognizing that there's actually an appetite and the need out there for this type of knowledge. That some of you out there, you may be musicians, artists, songwriters, producers, you may be struggling to kind of navigate through this complicated sometimes world of music royalties, how to collect everything that is owed to you, how you should be going about formulating these agreements with other people, your band members, and actually looking after yourself and your music journey as a musician, as an artist. Based on that, I have decided to offer a music consultancy service to those of you who might be struggling with those topics. And if you need any further advice, further guidance, if you have any questions whatsoever, so I can expand on them and elaborate and sort of put you in the right direction. So here's what I'm offering. Initially, what I'm going to offer is an hourly Zoom call. So if you send me an email, we can arrange a time that suits both of us effectively. And the topics that I can cover is anything to do with your registration as an artist or as a songwriter or as a composer or performer with appropriate organizations. We can go through any sort of songwriting tips you may have. So for example, if you want my advice on a song that you're working on right now, or anything to do with the production side of it, I also would be happy to do that for you. Anything to do with music royalties whatsoever. So if you need any advice in terms of like what royalties are, how they work, anything to do with music publishing, the difference between different types of royalties and how to claim them, I'm also here for you to offer that advice as well. Anything to do with forming and running a band, also I've got a lot of experience in that area, so don't hesitate if you need any advice on that. Anything to do with planning your next steps in your musical journey. We can also touch upon how to run all this from a financial perspective in the best way. However, with a caveat that for very, very detailed support and advice, you should consult with an accountant or a tax advisor. But I can explain to you the basics and how I think this could be best managed for yourself as an artist. So during that hourly call, I will also be able to help you formulate a quick plan really for your next step. So for example, I can assess where you are on your music journey right now. And if you need any tips in terms of like how to move forward from where you are and what would be the best things to do or the most important priorities right now, that kind of thing, and to help you with that little plan of action, I can also support you with that. For those of you who might be interested in more in-depth support and more in-depth work with me, I also can offer a longer-term coaching program. This program will be tailored around your specific needs as an artist, and it will focus on formulating smart goals and objectives. We will picture where you are right now and where you want to go, where you're actually heading, and we can also identify the steps that are required to get you to where you want to be. As part of that, we will also schedule regular reviews so that we can evaluate those goals and those objectives, whether they've been met, and if they have been met, there's obviously a reason to celebrate. But also, if things change along the way, we can also relook at them, reprioritize them, and also identify new objectives and new goals where those previously identified objectives have been achieved. We will base this completely on your unique situation. So effectively, for example, your budget or the lack of thereof even, if you have no budget, zero budget, very little budget, huge budget, and anything in between, we can then plan different activities around that. I can also look at your geographical location, your situation, if you're an individual solo artist or you're in a band, anything like that, any other kind of interactions, networks that you may be sort of involved with from that sort of musical perspective. That will help us to formulate that plan so you can effectively execute it and then get to your destination much quicker and in a much more effective way. So this knowledge that I have in this area actually comes from years of learning now and sort of self-educating as well in terms of the music business, the music industry side of things, and actually being a musician, being a songwriter, performing for actually decades now, I would say, being on stage, writing my songs, releasing records, and anything and everything in between. My knowledge also comes from mistakes that I've made over the years and the lessons that I learned from those mistakes so that you can avoid making the same mistakes that I made, and effectively save yourself a lot of time, hassle and effort. I also have a formally recognized coaching qualification actually as well, and I have managed successfully many projects in other areas of my life and my working life. So you will be definitely in good hands and I know what I'm doing. Something else to recognize here that it really can be beneficial sometimes because it can really be a lonely place, especially if you are a solo artist, especially if you just work on your craft sort of on your own, without having that additional pair of eyes and ears, like independent pair of eyes and ears of someone who isn't directly involved in your art to give you that advice. And also sometimes people who are standing or seeing you from the outside, they can actually see a lot more, if you like. So rather than from your sort of own internal perspective, so people can actually see a lot of other opportunities, how to do certain things that actually might recognize that you are a lot further on your journey than when you may think you are, and all these different things. So if you decide to enter this program with me, will be able to lend you effectively that critical ear and being able to offer the advice and help you see the things that you might not be able to see right now from where you're standing. And lastly, just a disclaimer, I am not a lawyer or an accountant or a tax advisor. So if your queries are specifically around like, should I sign this particular contract, for example, or how should I manage my finances in the best way possible, that kind of thing. If it's really, really specific and detailed around those types of areas, then I would always recommend that you get in touch with a lawyer or with an accountant or with a tax advisor and get the advice from them, but you can still talk to me about some of these things if you think that might be beneficial and helpful as an initial conversation, but I will always advise you to go to the formally qualified people who can give you and people who practice in those professions to give you that advice. So if you are interested, all you need to do is send me an email, and I've created a brand new email specifically for this, and it's very simple. It's all one word: music consultancy with Bartek at yahoo.com. So it's music consultancy with Bartek at yahoo.com. If you email me at that email address, I will reply to you and I will send you the full spec with the price and everything else that you need. So yeah, if that is something that you are interested in, send me an email and we'll take it from there. Thanks very much for watching today, and I'll see you in my next video.